The headline from Deadline, as I like to say, how M3GAN boogied her way to the box office via TikTok, sequel already in the works. Oh boy. Doesn't that just make you love? This is from our boy Tony. This is Tony over on over on Deadline. James Wan has been labeled by fans for being responsible for killer doll movies, specifically his Conjuring franchise spin-off Annabelle. It's funny, I really hadn't done that yet, says the horror auteur. And that was his prime reason to create M3GAN with screenwriter Akela Cooper. In my previous doll movies, they don't kill anyone. Annabelle never gets up and walks around. Everyone says I'm the killer doll guy. So I said, I'm going to make a killer doll movie for a brand new generation. Today's kids didn't grow up with Chucky like we did, continues Wan, who produced the PG-13 and wrote the story with Cooper. I do find that actually to be pretty interesting. That, because I've never really been a big fan of, I don't hate James Wan, but that genre typically is not for me. But it is interesting that he's been known as this personality. He's been known as this type of character, right? Of being the killer doll guy. But I didn't realize that none of the dolls in the previous films that he's done actually haven't killed. So actually, I think that's an interesting motivation for him to do that. And absolutely, you totally get the Chucky vibes from the commercial. Also, this image is just creepy as all get out. And again, I mentioned this in my box office video. The marketing campaign for this movie, even outside of whatever TikTok thing they're talking about, is clearly effective. It reminds me a lot about the marketing they did for Smile. So it makes sense that this would have done it. It says, and so M3GAN was born, and born big. The Universal Blumhouse and Atomic Monster title blew its $17 to $20 million projections with $30.2 million. That is indeed quite impressive of a start. Taking the second stop, Marketplace still dominated 4 weekends later by James Cameron Avatar Way of Water, which did $45 million and crossed the $500 million mark. Good job. Good for you. We'll see where you end up. M3GAN reps a fantastic start to the box office year, especially with an original piece of IP, and in January, no less. That's, to me, the most impressive part of any of this, because, as we all know, January is typically where films go to die. Of course, that has been kind of thrown on its head because of COVID stuff, but I remember I think it was January of last year that the film Old came out, and my goodness, was that movie terrible. It goes on to say, though, the original piece of IP and the pic's success is launching New Zealand filmmaker Gerard Johnstone's talents out of Canada before Hollywood. Not to mention, it's a great beginning for the ultimate team-up between Blumhouse and Wan's Atomic Monster, which are in final talks to merge. Oh, very, very interesting. Made in New Zealand in June of 2021, one of the few safe havens to shoot, then during the pandemic. So understanding that Universal always believed in the big screen version of M3GAN, even though such Blumhouse titles like Firestarter, Halloween Kills, and Halloween Ends went theatrical day and date release with the studio's sister streaming Peacock. Yep. And I didn't see Firestarter, but I heard it was terrible, and I can confirm Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends were both gosh awful. Were both terrible. Peacock M3GAN always had an exclusive theatrical release date, we understand. So opening gross level, the pick is on an exclusive 17-day theatrical window. Now, I think this is probably a big mistake, to be honest. So it has a exclusive release in theaters, but it's only going to be theatrically exclusive for 17 days, and then it's going to be going to Peacock for free? I mean, come on, man. That's not how you make money. I mean, they were able to make their money back, but that's because you had a very small budget. I want to make a movie that really connects and is emotional, Wan tells Deadline. He was drawn to Cooper for her old-school horror sensibility, as well as her predilection for dark humor. The two went on to work on *Malignant* for Warner Brothers following M3GAN. So what in the world is the whole TikTok thing? That's the main thing I was trying to get at here, because I actually don't know exactly what the TikTok thing was. It just the dance? They have a dance in the film, and so they put the dance on TikTok. Is that what they think pushed people to go see the film? All right, it says here, what took M3GAN to another level was Universal's push under Chief Marketing Officer Michael Moses. They immediately spotted a meme that would catch a fire, particularly on TikTok. In M3GAN's droopy sway dance, a hashtag sensation that spurred 1.3 billion views from hashtag M3GAN, M3GAN movie, M3GAN dance. All this traffic was organic, sans a M3GAN dance challenge on social, as Uni was keen that the dance would catch on. Well, I think I have a big question. Was it actually organic? You never know when it comes to these social media companies, especially one owned by the Chinese Communist Party, of whether or not it's truly authentic or truly organic. But I will say that I've seen it, so I can definitely attest to its reach at the very least. As Uni was keen that the dance would catch on, Uni assembled a troupe of M3GAN dancers who strutted their stuff at the global premiere last month before the screening of the trailer's Taylor Swift song, It's Nice to Have a Friend, but that's not all. They literally went on the tour, making stops at the Empire State Building, Subway's Tonight Show, and even the front of the American Girl doll store, as well as last Sunday's Rams. Yeah, so I think that just having the image right of these creepy women dressed as the creepy dolls, right, is probably the big thing that push it over. Uni cut a trailer capturing M3GAN's deadpan, sassy, posh tone, which stoked the under 25 female audience, clocking over 250 million views. And I think this is the biggest problem too, right? They're talking about all the views, right? But that's just correlation, right? Correlation is not causation, as is often said. Now, I'm not saying that this didn't have any impact on people going to see the movie. It probably had an impact, at least on some people. But my concern is that when people like Deadline run with things like this, the studios take it at face value, take it as somehow gospel truth, and then they try to do it in an inorganic way, and it ultimately fails. So, yeah, you look to films like M3GAN and Smile, and I think the two things that those films seem to have in common, and I know that not everyone was a fan of Smile, and I know not everyone is or will be a fan of M3GAN either. Again, I have not seen it yet myself. But it seems that one of the consistent themes with both of them is that they're generally well-made movies that general audiences can enjoy. So I think that's also the big problem, and that's a key thing, because if you have this social media presence and you even have like this whole thing catch fire, that does not automatically mean you're going to make money, because we can all remember Morbius, right? Morbius took off to the moon with its memes. I wonder what the numbers were on that. I wonder what the numbers were on the Morbius memes and numbers when everything was totaled together. That didn't help that movie. Remember, even the studio said, look at all this internet traffic. We have to re-release it. And they did, and no one went to go see it. Why? Because Morbius was utter trash. So it's interesting that this is what they're running with. So again, the film is doing very well. Going to the numbers, the Monday box office, Avatar dropped to $3.4 million. That's actually interesting. I thought that the number would actually be a little bit higher than that.
And now for a huge shout out to all of my January Patreon Subscribe Star and Locals members at the Keeper of the Bifrost level and above. Starting off with my Patreon members, Father Luca Illich, Garrett Searles, Jaimir Ari Hymason, Joe Horn, Jonathan Carney, Orange Chat Reviews, who you can check out on his YouTube channel, Orange Chat Reviews, Rosetta Allen, who you can check out at her YouTube channel, Eagle Writer, and Miss Martin Muses, who you can check out at her YouTube channel, Miss Martin Muses, and of course the amazing Empress of the Universe, Tina B, who you can check out over on her YouTube channel, Tina B, with her show Soup to Nuts, which she does, tries to do every single week with her friend and with fellow Valkyrie and fellow mod of the channel, Stephanie B.
And also a special shout out to the Modern Major General of the channel, Laura Story. Thank you again for joining.
And of course, I do want to give a special shout out to Tina B and make sure that everyone knows that our prayers are being extended towards her as she continues to recover from complications that have occurred recently with her medically and has resulted in a loss of eyesight, or at the very least of more clear eyesight. So to continue to offer our prayers for her. Also a shout out to my Subscribe Star peeps, Matt317, who you can check out on his Twitch channel by the same name, The R, Fast Reaction, Mr. Roy, J-Rod the Beer Guru, and the K-Man, who you can check out over at xtheboundaries.co. And lastly, to my Locals members, Miss Minnesota Hockey Fan, How About a Hockey Player, J.H. Schwalbach, Brett D90, and the amazing lawyer Robert Barnes. So thank you all very much for supporting me on Local, Subscribe Star, and Patreon. If you want your name shouted out at the end of every live stream and video, please check out the top link in the video description below, where you get access to this, and also, of course, to a monthly podcast that I do with John the Flick Flickinger. Also access to a giveaways channel on my Discord, where I give away films. This month I've got films like Seven Samurai on Blu-ray from the Criterion Collection to give away, The Banshees of Inisherin, Tommy Boy Steelbook, Edge of Tomorrow 4K, and tons of other 4Ks and Steelbooks as they get released over the next month will be be available, and also, of course, digital codes as well. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, check out that top link and join over on Patreon, Subscribestar, or on Locals. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And as always, God bless.